I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
Oh, you know, just living my life out in here in the old Nashy Nash. We're experiencing a slight heat wave. It's
I'm getting a
very
pedicure
hot.
as we speak.
Yeah, from
a
your dog.
Yeah, you know.
That's disgusting.
What are you doing down there, Jax?
Oh, I'm just working your feet because they're so delicious.
Because I love you.
That's disgusting.
I'm basically just a human salt lick to this dog.
Ugh.
So JB, what's up, man? How's it going? So I haven't talked to you
what's up,
forever.
dude?
Let's start this over. Steve is MIA. We love you, Steve. We just didn't hear back from you.
Steve's doing his thing. Steve's got a lot of stuff on his plate.
No, for sure.
And Steve is still a foundational
he's still the third leg
load-bearing
of the
part of
tripod.
this tripod.
Yes,
He is load-bearing still. We're just...
Dude, I'm pretty sure
he's got to do his thing. So we have our good buddy, Casey Montgomery, or Monty, as some of you know him. Monty's Plumbing, San Diego, California, high school
Shout out.
friend, shout out, football player, all-around awesome dude, sitting in with us today.
Hi, guys. How are you?
All right.
Yeah. So what's going on with you guys? What's give me the lowdown for what's going on at SD right now.
So right now in SD, it's quite possible that there's somebody in my building who's having some issues. And
Oh no, what happened?
I don't know, dude. Who knows? Ambulance, fire truck, cop worthy.
Record-breaking heat, man.
Record-breaking heat. Yeah. And you know, he's, I think it's the guy that
You
lives
totally thought people were there to like bust down your door because you have illicit drugs in your apartment, don't you?
No, it was ambulances and stuff. No
I'm
cops.
just kidding.
There was one cop.
Yeah, we got
Probable cause,
dude,
bro.
dude, I gotta be honest, man.
The first time in 102-year history of Scripps Research taking temperatures at the pier, we had record-breaking heat like last Wednesday. It was like 78.6 degree water temperature.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
in the
crazy.
ocean. That's
Pacific
crazy.
Ocean.
Well, I mean, the Pacific is usually pretty warm, right? It's the Atlantic that's cold because it's deeper and wider. But
No. Well, think about it. I mean, I guess it
Atlantic's
depends
not
on where
very
you are,
deep.
but
Yeah.
like Florida, like the Gulf, like that water's like bathtub warm.
Yeah, that's true. I have no idea what I'm talking about, so...
I think the Pacific is a colder ocean in general, but I could be
Really?
wrong. I don't
Okay.
know.
No, you're
Casey,
good.
I think you're right.
it's just big.
Okay, I'll take your...
They've got
I'll
this
take
thing
your,
on the
well,
East
it does,
Coast
okay,
called
so it
the
does...
Transatlantic Shelf. Where,
Yeah, because it drops off there, like
yeah.
a couple miles off. It just goes like, boom, see ya.
And I wonder if it has something to do with humidity.
Who knows, man?
Definitely not the Transatlantic Shelf. It has
No,
nothing to do
but
with
I'm talking about like
humidity.
Florida.
It's-
The water's always warm. I'm talking like beach water, like a few
Of
feet.
course it's going to be fucking warm in Florida because it's humid.
But I'm just saying the weather, because it hasn't been necessarily hotter than normal this year, but it's been more humid, way more humid.
No,
It's
I
been
I
all the
doubt
above.
It's
like record-breaking
Yeah.
climate right now.
Fuck it all.
well
I'm
because
moving to goddamn Alaska.
just because where you live hasn't been as hot doesn't mean that like everywhere else collectively
No, that's not what I'm
hasn't
saying.
been
What I'm
as
saying
hot.
is if we're having record-breaking water temperatures, we've also been having record-breaking humidity
Yeah.
way more like noticeably than heat.
Yeah, there's guys catching fish out at the Coronado Islands that people haven't really ever heard of. You know, like people are catching triggerfish, which are things that you catch in like,
Hawaii.
you know, Hawaii, like, you know, really warm.
because they're all
cool-
migrating this way.
Yeah, it's just warm enough.
Well,
where,
it's the
like,
same thing
who-
with sharks too. Like the sharks want to be in warmer water, don't they?
Depends on the shark.
Sharks cruise. They do all kinds of different things.
That's true.
I saw something the other day, like a 697-pound tiger shark was caught in Port Aransas, Texas, like 5 to 10 miles offshore. Like record-breaking tiger shark. Like, oh, man.
Tiger sharks, garbage disposal.
Scare the crap out of me, man.
Dude, yeah, a 600-pound shark. I'm going to be...
I don't know. Tiger sharks get big.
Yeah.
But they're not...
Well, yeah.
They're not...
They're nasty.
But they're not as, like... They don't have, like, the girth of a great white. So you could have a 20-foot tiger shark, but it's going to be a lot lighter than, like, a 20-foot great white.
Yeah, but even still, either way, thing will still kill you.
20-foot, either one of those is going to scare the pants out of me.
And a tiger shark is more likely to attack you than a great white, for sure.
I think so.
I think a tiger shark probably is like the number 2 shark that's like willing to and like ready to attack you. The first one,
they're like more aggressive than it's the bull sharks too, right?
They're just non-discriminatory. Like they'll eat anything. They're literally like the shark garbage disposal.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
When they gut them, there's like license plates and like car bumpers and all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, and great whites are smarter though.
Well, they're just very selective in their food. I mean, once they pass like the 10-foot, 12-foot threshold, they're only going to eat seals.
Right.
Yeah,
and nothing else.
If you look like a seal, then they're going to eat you.
Then well, the problem is they're not. They're just going to bite you, and they're going to realize you're not
they're going to bite you, and if they realize you're not a seal, they're going to let you go.
Right.
And if they realize you are a seal, they're going to eat you. So
the other fucked up thing about tiger sharks is they don't have the bite power that a great white has, but they have these crazy, like, angled, serrated teeth. By the way, for all you listeners, Tim, since he was a child, has just watched far too much Shark Week. I'm just saying.
No, dude, I'm glad that you have the expertise because
I am obsessed.
Pretty much an expert.
I'm obsessed with animals that can kill me, and I don't know why.
Discovery Channel,
but the top of that chain though is sharks. I've just always loved sharks, and it's like I think it's like a respect
they're
and
an
a fear.
apex predator, bro.
They are. So let's get back to the teeth of a tiger shark, guys. So the teeth of a tiger shark have this weird angle. I can't really talk. I can't explain it. I have to draw it. It's this weird angled teeth, and they're serrated in a certain fashion. So regardless of bite force, they will cut the shit through anything, including like.
Would you
bones.
say like a 45-degree angle back towards their mouth?
So it's
kind
like
of thing?
Think of like if a tooth is like a pyramid, like a little triangle.
Yeah.
If you like take that one side and split it and then angle it, so you almost have like the side. Okay, so you have the bottom of your triangle, you have the right side of your triangle, the left side of the triangle, like halfway down. Move that in and split that line, so it kind of almost makes a shark fin on top of a triangle. If that makes any sense at all.
So it's like there's multiple shapes. This tooth is like a.
So you have like what's
blade.
like normally a triangle, but then that left side, that left leaning side, is basically split at the middle and push it towards the center of the triangle. So you have this kind of like a
so it's like, it's like a wingtip of a 787 jet kind of thing.
So I guess you're right, dude. So it's not the bottom that's got that split; it's the left side. But if you were to look at it from a certain angle, like it looks almost like a B-2 bomber or like a stealth bomber, kind of that wing shape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, the way they're
the teeth look like shark fins. I'm looking at it right now.
No, they totally look like shark fins. So it's like the evolutionarily perfect design of a tooth to maximize the bite force that you have or don't have.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Cut through anything because they eat like mammals and stuff. So like they did something on Shark Week. Dude, that angle of the tooth with a lesser bite force can bite right through like a it was like, dude, the femur bone of like a sheep or something.
Well, and whatever it doesn't cut through, it pulls down into their throat. So basically, that tooth is like evolutionarily designed to cut through flesh, hit bone, pull bone back into throat.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I see that right now. I'm totally
So
I didn't mean to like interrupt you.
Your 3 types of sharks that you need to worry the most about are your great white because they don't want to eat you, but they'll bite you by accident. And if a great white bites you, you're fucked because you're going to bleed out.
Yeah, because
a tiger shark because they just don't care, and apparently they have like nature's best of like designed teeth ever.
And the bull sharks are super aggressive.
The other one would be a bull shark. They're super aggressive. They will bite you. They will eat you. They don't care. They can swim in fresh water. Pretty much bull shark equals you're fucked. And and by the way, the bull shark has the highest levels of testosterone in the animal kingdom, period.
So they're like a bunch of like roided out dudes underneath the water.
Like the biggest like juiced up
teeth,
juice head from your college or high school experience. And every bull shark is that guy.
They're like, bruh, bro, I'm gonna beat your ass, bro.
Or all the lovely gentlemen with the tap out shirts.
Oh,
right
yeah,
after
dude,
a Saturday night, right after the MMA fight got out, go over to the
shirts.
bars, and everyone with an affliction shirt or a tap out shirt, that's a bull shark.
You should just call them bro sharks.
Bro sharks? That's kind of, it's not a bad one. I like it, actually, dude.
It's like, what's up, bro? I'm gonna eat you, bro.
One of our listeners that is a graphically gifted person, make us a meme with a bro shark. I'm just saying.
Bro shark. Yeah, it's like, bro, I'm super pumped up on BCAAs, testosterone, and juice. I'm gonna fucking eat you. Raw.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna go home and masturbate because I didn't get any pussy at the bar.
Yeah. He scared away all the fucking classy women.
Yeah, it's all good.
So
People get the point.
So like, I was gonna try and do something, and then I forgot what I was gonna do.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I was actually. I was honestly trying to do a transition, and then I forgot what topic we were going to talk about.
Dude, we're talking about own your shit, good or bad.
Oh, there we go.
Shit.
There we
Well,
go.
I got a little own your shit thing, man.
You know,
hold on.
Here's a little own your shit thing that's been kind of grinding my gears, so to speak. Like, I've been trying to keep it cool. So, last Sunday, I walk out to my truck. Actually, it was Saturday night, but basically, so I walk out to my truck, and the first thing I notice is like this huge ass like scrape down the side of it, and I'm like, what the hell, man? Somebody like scraped my truck. And then I look, the tire's got a big scuff on it. I'm like, damn, dude, somebody freaking clipped my truck, man. No note. And then I jump inside my truck, and instead of my steering wheel being at like 12 o'clock, it's at like 3 o'clock. Like, fuck, dude. Somebody scraped my truck, hit my truck enough, hit the tire, and broke the tie rod on my truck. Such a bummer. The person just hit my truck. They totally knew it. There's no way that they didn't know that they hit my truck, and they
would
didn't
have had to
even
know
know
it
or nothing.
if your steering wheel was over at 3 o'clock for sure.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they fucking dinged my truck. Whatever. No note. And so I was like, like totally throwing a tantrum, all pissed off, and I was leaving the house because I was going to buy ice and stuff like that because we were having a little shindig at my house for my girlfriend's birthday. So I'm like trying to not fly off the handle and go on to like a freaking a Tourette rant. And
well, yeah, because you want to keep it together for her birthday.
Yeah, right. So I bite my tongue, whatever, man. Like somebody fucking hit my truck. And then this morning I walk out and somebody had gone through my neighborhood and gone to a bunch of the cars in the neighborhood and just started bending all of the antennas. And my truck and my work truck, both the antennas got fucking completely bent at like 90-degree angles. And somebody there was like a piece of clothing like in the wiper blades of like one of my trucks. Like somebody went through in the middle of the night and was like, yeah, man, I'm just going to walk around this whole neighborhood and just mangle a bunch of fucking antennas.
Hey, Casey, you have trail cams, right?
I do.
Dude, you need to set one up like on a tree adjacent to where you park, and you can catch these motherfuckers.
I'm going to go to prison for what the fuck I do to them, though, man.
I want to catch them. Well, you won't find them. You at least give the cops something to go off of.
You just give the cops the video, dude. And you're done with it.
Seriously.
I think we need to make Casey listen to the forgiveness episode.
Well, no.
I've got
bro.
videos of guys. I put security cameras all around my house, and I got security cameras in my alley and stuff like that. And I've had guys come through and look up and see that I have security cameras, and then take their little trash picking up devices and like mangle up my wires and stuff. It just sucks. Like
that's what I'm saying, dude. Is you need to put like a trail cam that's battery powered up high,
so they can't.
So they can't get it, and just do it like on a nightly basis, and just replace the battery, replace the SD card. Go check it out. If there's nothing there, replace the SD card. I mean, if this is happening like in succession with the last few days, man, that's what I would do.
Another idea, though, I think
I'd rather just dress up in black, like a ninja. And
no, dude, you don't want to lose sleep over it, dude. These fuckers aren't worth it.
Well, like you said, you don't want to go to prison for some douchebags.
Yeah, but that's what's gonna happen, man. Like I'm gonna catch somebody. And
no,
all of a sudden,
dude.
Man, like
if you catch him on
video, bro.
If you catch him on video, and
plumbing, man, fucking guy was a really well known. Everybody liked him. He was a fixture of the community. Everybody loved Monty, and all of a sudden, he's on trial for like breaking 3 arms,
attempted murder,
5 legs,
pulling the Edward Norton Scully in American History X.
That's what happens. Like I feel like I'm like, man, these guys don't even know who they're fucking with.
Hey,
they're
Casey, you know what's great about the internet in 2018 is you post that video on whatever, and you want to shame the dude, people will find him and do it for you.
So on the topic of
yeah, but it's like some fucking tweaker or some fucking homeless guy, or it's not like it's or it's some little kid. Like I showed up to the job sites this morning, and I'm like all bent out of shape and talking to this other guy that's on the job site, and he's like, yeah, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to go around and like scratch people's cars up, and I used to bend people's wiper blades up, and I used to do dumb stuff when I was a kid.
Wait, this is a homeless person saying this?
No, this is a guy that I was like on a job site with, and I'm like, dude, I wish I could have got a hold of you when you were 14 years old or 15 years old, whatever you're doing. I wish I could have broke your lip.
But I can't get a hold of those guys, and you're here.
Out of you.
I'm just going to beat the fuck out of you instead.
Yeah, pisses me off, man.
All right. Here's what I think we should do. We should do a reclamation project one night where we go to some neighborhood and think of some positive way to affect everyone's car. So they wake up in the morning and there's something cool in their car.
Yeah, like, hey, look at silver lining, nobody messed with your car except for us.
Like, we should give them something cooler than that. Like, can we put like $1 in that same note?
Well, like a condom?
Whatever, dude. A condom
and
$1?
That works.
Here's $1 and a condom.
Practice safe sex.
So Casey was angry. So Casey, how did this story? Are you saying you wish the guys had owned their shit and like left a note? Well, not so much the antenna benders, but the person who hit your car.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't expect the antenna benders to.
Well, that was clear on purpose. The hitting your car probably wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, the hitting your car could have been some drunk
went
dude.
Through
like
the whole
neighborhood.
Like I drove through. Like there was like 4 or 5 or 6 other cars that had antennas that were bent. Like 2 of mine were bent. It's a bummer. I don't know how much it's gonna cost. Whatever. Like I basically look at this like other people cost me like basically like $1,000 worth of like mechanical things on 2 trucks within just a couple days, like just on somebody hitting my truck and then another person vandalizing my truck. Like,
so your trucks, do you have a like a Sprinter and then like a pickup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my truck. Anybody that knows me, like my truck is, like I really like my truck. It's well taken care of. It, I take a lot of care of my stuff. I take care of all my stuff. I do all the maintenance. And man, what a bummer, man! Some fucking asshole, fucking clipped my truck. No note, no nothing. And then a couple days later, another asshole goes through and fucking bends the antenna on that truck, plus another one of them. And I live in a nice neighborhood.
All right, here's a like, theoretical scenario for you. So, all right, here's the thing, Casey. You're driving home. I'm not saying this is you at all, but I'm saying this is completely theoretical. So you're driving home, and you happen to be driving by Casey Montgomery's house, and you maybe had a few to drink, and you answer your phone, and you're like, oh, crap, I swerved into a truck. You know, like, what do you do as you?
Well, what I would have done, if I had clipped my truck, I would have left somebody a note with my information and said, hey, man, super sorry. I hit your truck. I have insurance. Here's my phone number. Like, we'll straighten this shit out.
Yeah, you would have
I would have been really bummed out,
shit.
you know. That's owning your shit. I mean, that's what this topic is. That's what this topic of discussion
For
is.
sure.
Kinda
that's what anybody in their right
you
mind
guys want to talk
would
about
have
owning
done.
your shit? Yeah, that's what owning your shit is, man. You freaking hit somebody's car, you break somebody's window, you do something. Like, I'm a general contractor. I work on people's houses all the time. And if I make a mistake, I go to those people and I say, hey, man, I'm really sorry, but this is what happened. And I fucking
And you know what's
broke
great about
something,
that is
man.
that
I've
people
scratched
respect
people's-
the hell out of that.
Well, yeah, but dude, if I hit the car and I leave a note, then I'm gonna have to pay for it. I mean, if I just drive away,
Yeah, that's still about owning your shit, though.
well, I'm playing devil's advocate here, dude. But why bother owning your shit? I mean,
I remember
it's so much easier
You know why?
and
'Cause you
cheaper
can
to
sleep at
skate.
night.
Here's a perfect example, man. When I first got started, you know, this is a client of mine. I've been self-employed for about 10 years, and I remember one of the first remodels I ever did. I was doing a job for this guy, and it was like me and the electrician was on the job, and there was, you know, a couple other tradesmen on the job, and the TV got delivered. I'm sorry, the refrigerator. The refrigerator got delivered, and this guy had this like brand new bamboo flooring, and we're like, hey, let's do this guy Matt a favor, and like he's gonna be so stoked when he shows up tonight to have his refrigerator moved in and slid into the spot, and like he'll have like ice water for his family. Like, this guy's been living in a construction site for, you know, 3 months. Total kitchen and bathroom renovation.
I'm just cringing at what's about to
And
happen.
all of a sudden,
I know
you
exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah, so I moved this guy's refrigerator in for him, and I remember everybody was kind of standing around, and the refrigerator was just a little teeny tiny bit out of being able to line up to just go into the slot. And I got in there and I muscled it up and I fucking pulled it up and shoved it in. And as soon as I shoved it in, I looked down, there's this humongous gash on this guy's brand new hardwood bamboo floors that were like beautiful, polished. He was so proud of them. And I had to freaking call that guy and I had to tell him, man, hey, man, I scratched the shit out of your floor. There's like this huge, nasty gash on your floor. It looks like shit. And I'm so sorry. And he was like, all right. And he was all bent out of shape about it. And, you know, he didn't go after me in court or like do anything, but you know, at the time he was bummed out about it. And this guy remained to be one of my clients. He's still one of my clients. I've worked for all of his entire family. You know, I work for his mom and, you know, his brothers and his sisters. They're like, you know, San Diego, Point Loma natives. And even to this day, like, I go over to his house and I stare at his floor and I look down at that spot. And he's like, oh, dude, don't worry about it. I don't even see it anymore. And to me...
so he didn't even fix it? He, like, left it there?
Yeah,
he
it's
left
there.
it there. It's a
yeah,
hot Casey every
yeah.
time he comes over.
Yeah, totally. It's
well,
a
you
big,
know why, though? Because
it's a big
that
9-inch
floor has
gash.
character now.
Yeah, he's okay with it.
It's Casey's telltale heart.
No. You know what it is? It's like it's character. It's when you get a brand new car and you're like so afraid to scratch it. Once you get that first scratch, you're like,
kind of true. Then
you can just take a deep breath.
It's not that you don't
enjoy
care
the car.
anymore. Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean for Casey, it's a telltale heart.
Perfect
you
forever.
know? Old Edgar Allan Poe book. I think the guy kills somebody, whatever it is. He totally could have got away with it, but then he keeps hearing that dun 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 dun. He keeps hearing the heart noise, and it just reminds him.
No, it's just like when I go there, I get bummed out. You know, it's like fuck, man. And all I was trying to do is be a nice guy. I was like, hey, let's try to let's try to help this guy out.
Yeah,
there's other things on the same level of owning up to mistakes and stuff like that, but. Yeah, it's just it's owning up to your mistakes is what men do, and what good people do, and people that have like respect and stuff like that. But people that don't do it are cowards, and or I don't want to label somebody as scum, but
you're not even scum.
I'm pretty pissed
You're the
off
shit that
right
feeds
now.
On scum.
But it's a real bummer when people don't own up.
Well, there's people who are happy to own up to their stuff when it's positive, but then they refuse to own up to things when it's negative.
Exactly.
When I feel like a real leader, you're gonna give. I don't even know how good of a leader I am, but I try to be. And when I have people that report to me, when good things happen, I give them credit, or I give the people above me credit. I give everyone else credit, because guess what? Those are the people that affect my life every day. So I give them the credit, and if something bad happens, I'll take all the bullets. And I think that's, I'm not saying I'm a good leader, but I think that someone who is a good leader, that's one of the characteristics that they have.
It's character. That's what happens, is that, what, you've got, you know that you're in a position to be able to influence. And when good things happen, you know what it feels like to have, to share the good vibes and the good of a situation, and that when something bad happens, the person in charge, i.e. you, is ultimately responsible. And You're not going to blame people that are underneath you, because when you're that person in charge, you take responsibility.
Yeah, so you're going to look like a complete piece of shit if you start pointing the finger at somebody else.
That position, yeah.
No, absolutely. And even if they don't notice it, what they will notice is you taking bullets for them and you giving them credit. And those people, whether they're your peers or your people who report to you, there's this, and I'm not saying you do it for the loyalty, but you see when you project and you show people your true character, and that's a good character, it definitely speaks to people. And I hate to say it, but I think that goes even further these days, because I think that the bar gets set very low by the public.
Well, because people, especially maybe in politics, and the people we see in the news, very rarely own their shit.
Very true. Which is interesting. If I can go on a sort of a tangent real quick, because we never do that here. But I was listening to a past episode where Steve was talking about, he was complaining about the Washington basketball team being called the Washington Wizards. And then later on that episode, we talked about the Wizard of Oz and how the wizard himself is a total fucking fraud. And it made me think,
yeah.
If we'd done this episode in reverse, we would have seen that, of course, the Washington Wizards, it's a perfect name, because all the politicians over there are basically just like the Wizard of Oz. They're behind a curtain. They're, making some there's some smoke.
Yeah, they're making all these, grandiose,
but they're total frauds,
promises,
and they're not going to make
you vote for them, and then they never
exactly.
come through on them.
No, exactly. I mean, government's a necessary evil. It is what it is. But anyways, that was just my random.
Yeah, we're not getting into that, but
no, not at all. I mean, ours is better than some. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
It is what it is. My point was that, own your shit is what it needs to happen.
So, Tim, where's an example of you, owning your shit?
I've never done that.
Well, maybe this is a good exercise. And I don't believe you.
I'm trying to think.
I'll tell you an example of owning your shit that my uncle kind of confessed to me one time. My uncle's an avid sailor, and he's done nothing but sailboats and sailboats since he was, 18 years old. And he's involved in these races where every Wednesday he goes out for X amount of weeks, and it's a, relatively competitive series at one of the yacht clubs, and these guys go out and, they race against each other, and every week, towards, week 15, 16, 17, 18, it starts to get kind of more and more competitive. And my uncle told me one time, he was like, I had a bunch of people on my boat that weren't really like super competitive sailors. They didn't really know what was going on, and we ended up I ended up like kind of barking at people, and I was like yelling at people because I was so competitive. I wanted to win this series. I want to be in this placing so much, and I was bitching at people. And the next morning I woke up, I felt so bad I had to call each and every one of them and apologize for the way I spoke to them, and I had to like kind of check myself as to what the importance of this whole experience is. And here I am barking at some novice sailor that maybe not have the level of experience that I do, and I'm barking at people over just fun races where there's like no purse, but I was just so hungry to I wanted to win this race. And here I am barking at people, and I had to call them up. I had to apologize because that's not cool. And, that's another...
No, apologizing is definitely owning your shit.
Right.
Because, you can be emotionally charged and, like you said, like your uncle, or he's like, you know what, I lost it. But
right.
You could totally damage some people with your actions, and if you don't own up to it and apologize, then, that can do some even more damage.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of it, we've talked about samurai and stuff before, and katanas and whatnot, and lap welding. Another word that's come up before is honor. And I think that above all else, it's an honor situation, because owning your shit is not always going to be the immediate benefit to you. I mean, except for if you have a soul or something like that. But leaving that note when you could have got off scot-free of hitting that car, that's going to cost you some money, most likely. Sometimes owning up to a mistake like that may cost you some pride and your reputation. But ultimately, in the end, Casey's not going to put his phone on silent, and it's just going to ring midway through the podcast. No, but ultimately, in the end, it's everything that speaks to your honor and your character and your reputation, because it's just like that whole, we've talked about so many times, like winning doesn't build character, losing builds character. And if you do something awesome for somebody, sure, they'll appreciate it. But when you own up to a mistake or a failure or a fuck up, even if at the time it doesn't seem like the right thing to do, that will gain you so much more respect from people. Because
here's the thing, is I've heard that character is living your life as if somebody is always watching.
Yeah.
And that may be like a, kind of a
code of the samurai.
Interesting way to look at it, but
my character's like, horrible.
You want to do things even though people aren't watching, but you have to live your life as if people are watching, because that'll make you make good decisions, or that'll help you make good decisions.
It's like, dude, are you going to pick up that piece of trash and throw it in the trash can?
Yeah.
Because some hot girl's watching, or some hot guy's watching, or whatever it is.
Or your football coach.
Or your football coach, or baseball.
Coach.
Or are you, if there's nobody else around you within eyesight, are you going to pick up that piece of trash? If you make a mistake and you hit a car.
Trash off the ground and you're a good human being.
Yeah. Or are you the guy who throws the trash on the ground when nobody else is looking? I mean, these are questions to ask yourself.
Well, I guess it depends on who's looking, right?
Believe in karma, believe in God, whatever, dude. Believe in the universe. I mean, I think most of us probably think there's some sort of something out there, whatever it may be. We won't talk about that. But, I mean, I'm a firm believer, dude. Everything you do, whether someone's watching or not, it's all going to come back to you in the end. And whether it's some karmically delicious bullshit or whether it's just some sort of, I have no idea. Doesn't matter.
Well, I feel like there's energy that's put out, and I feel like as a human race, yet we haven't quite become in tune with said energy, and we feel it. We just can't understand it yet.
We might have become out of tune with that energy.
And I feel like karma. Yeah, I can get behind that. I feel like karma is our way of explaining said energy.
I think we untune our pianos in a lot of ways, and I think it's kind of it's the other side of the coin of some of the benefits that we get from having a brain that does all the things our brain does. I mean,
well, because we can reason and because we have an imagination.
But I think because of those same things that give us the power to do that, we lose some of those instinctual or energetical powers that we may have.
Absolutely.
Kind of like when a baby's born, allegedly. I mean, I'm guessing you got to wait till like they can hold their head up or something. But allegedly, an infant, and its very young years or young days, can swim instinctually. But sometime, most likely before the time we actually hit a pool, we lose that instinct of knowing how to swim naturally.
Well, because you come out of a pool of placental fluid.
Sure. I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is a baby, almost like an animal, like a dog.
Yeah, it's instinctual.
It's instinctual, and just think about it. Like, I mean, not all dogs, not all animals, but a lot of animals can almost smell your character. Because
for sure,
there is something about the way a dog treats someone who walks through my door who has great character versus someone who may or may not. And then I don't know. Dogs react to people in different ways, and maybe it's that somebody who has a bad character who doesn't like dogs. I have no idea.
I think horses have a better full on. I don't even know instinctual take on people because their brains are so much smaller. So I think they rely on instinct way more because dogs are smart.
Some like the way that that you look at people who swim with crocodiles or swim with great white sharks.
Yeah, there's energy involved there.
Who jump in the water and treat the shark like they respect it. So yeah, sharks, animals.
Yeah, I mean, as far as animals go, like we evolutionarily have been able to. I mean, I say communicate in an advanced language. That doesn't mean that other animals have not been able to communicate in an advanced language. We have been able to dominate. We think we're the apex predator, which I don't agree with because I feel like as far as like diseases and stuff like that, like we can be taken down, but intellectual and instinctual. I guess it's kind of intellectual versus instinctual.
I think sometimes one comes at the cost of the other.
We as intellectual beings think that everything else is instinctual, but at the same time, we know that there's a number of species who are extremely intellectual. They're just not far along the evolutionary chain that we are, in my opinion. But maybe they're farther. Who knows? I'm not an authority on this.
Don't you think that on some levels, just judging by some of the instinct that a kid has when they're born, and they lose by the time they're 2, and some of the stuff a dog has, like just this, they almost read the character of a person the second they walk in a room.
No, for sure.
We could do that to a certain degree, but I think that maybe, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just a thing that I think that at the cost of some of our instinctual abilities come our intellectual abilities.
Evolutionarily, looking back on it, the reason that humans are born at 9 months is because our brains are far larger than, say, a horse or a giraffe. If you look at them, they are able to walk a lot sooner than humans are.
Dude, a giraffe drops 6 feet out in the air, lands on its head.
That doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that.
But then it can walk right away.
Evolutionarily, our brains are larger.
Right.
And that's why we've been born early. And that's why we have to be born at 9 months, because honestly, a human brain at 12 months would not be able to come out of the cervix, through the vagina, all that stuff.
Interesting. So carry your kid for longer, and you have a smarter kid, but you have to cut it out.
That's actually a scientifically proven fact, is that, dogs, horses, and I mean anything that's quadruped or biped, There's the only other thing is biped or, apes and monkeys. But
Tripod. Tripod.
the fact that animals like that who are able to walk within a day or two of being born, the fact that humans can't is because they were born early.
Interesting. I also think that we're a physically inferior species.
For sure.
From if you got to run a race or jump a fence, I mean, pretty much every other mammal that I can think of is more formidable than a human.
No, we if we were back in hunter-gatherer days, at this point, we'd be screwed.
Well, and I like your not being an apex predator. We're an apex predator if we have a tool or a computer or people.
We can hide ourselves as an apex predator because we have the.
If you're alone with no help and nobody else and no tools and no weapons, in
our teeth are flat.
The Alaskan wilderness or any wilderness or the ocean, dude, you're fucked. Because
we only have 4 canine teeth that are pointed. So when you look at it from that point of view, we're herbivores. We're maybe 80% herbivore, 20% carnivore. I mean that's a conservative look at it.
Yeah, but what does this have to do with owning anything?
I don't know. This is just the conversation we were talking about.
I know. What? Speaking of inferior species.
He's pissed off.
Monty's, he's not pissed.
Get another fucking cocktail.
He wants.
Monty's just getting fucking ready.
He wants Monty to stop drinking.
Yeah, you wish, pal. You're not that cute.
He doesn't care. If you give him treats, he don't give a fuck.
The dude is going on vacation in T-minus a few days, and the fucking light at the tunnel is getting closer and closer. So it's
where you
pretty
going?
much Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, fishing.
Fucking at least one day.
I'm stoked for you, bro.
Oh man, I can't fucking wait, man. I'm so fucking jazzed. It's gonna be. I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot of thunder and lightning and rain, but
You going with your girl?
Yep.
Yeah. That'll boy.
Yeah. It's kind of funny thing, man. We went to one of those timeshare presentations or whatever, and we didn't want to buy the timeshare, but they ended up giving us a week stay at one of the resorts anyway. But the kicker was you had to book the timeshare deal 1 month on your destination. And so we would always be looking, and there'd always be these just shitty places, shitty ass places in Tennessee, or airfare's not included, so it's it was just crappy ass places all over the place, or places that were really cool but were in $3,000 airfare ranges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm just gonna book. I'm gonna wait for this thing to expire, and I'm gonna book my vacation time right when it expires. And I'd already given up on it, but anyway, she starts looking at stuff right as it comes up. She's like, "Hey, there's a couple cool spots in Puerto Vallarta." Whammo, man! That's one of those spots I've always wanted to go fish at. Bucket list place to fish. It's also a place that's got a lot of really true Mexican culture. Puerto Vallarta's, it's a very popular place to visit.
I like Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, and then when we went to Hawaii in February, Alaska Airlines had some issues with their generators, and we ended up getting stranded in Hawaii for an extra a couple days because they didn't have a generator for their plane. And so we ended up getting $460 of Alaska airline miles. So
and Alaska Airlines flies to Puerto Vallarta, and that's
exactly, man. It's almost like a free trip to Puerto Vallarta.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's jazz.
So, have you ever been?
No, it's my first time to PV.
It's nice.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get into like some super Mexican culture. Like you know, you go to Cabo, and like Cabo's
Cabo's a joke.
It's like
because Puerto Vallarta's on the other coast, isn't it?
No, it's on the west
it's
coast.
on old Mexico.
Is it?
It's on the west coast, but it's far down.
It's old Mexico.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's also like, as far as vegetation wise, that's when you start to get into kind of the like. There's definitely a rainforest in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah,
You can find some little crocodiles and shit. They'll bite your feet.
I might have to get into a wrestling match with one.
I've always wanted to wrestle an alligator or a crocodile or a caiman. By the way,
Not me.
the Spanish word for caiman is pretty badass, and I can't remember what it is.
Cayman.
No, it's not.
Fucking
I don't know. Hey, get out of there!
My girlfriend would know.
My hairdresser, the girl who cuts my hair. She's
Illegal
from
Google
Tabasco.
Translate.
She's from Tabasco, which is a little region down towards the tip of Mexico. And she was telling me the word for it. It was pretty badass.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Puerto Vallarta is like literally halfway down before
Halfway
you get to
down on the
Guatemala.
west coast. Yeah, it's south.
Yeah,
of,
you're way past.
You're way
Baja
past Cabo.
California.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, Baja is on Baja.
Yeah, but
Puerto
you look
Vallarta's
at like
on
the
the whole
Cabo San
other-
Lucas
Yeah.
is about the same parallel. Well, it's probably a little bit north, like Mazatlan.
So basically, yeah, exactly. It's literally the same
same parallel as Mazatlan.
latitude as Mazatlan, for sure.
Whereas PV is more along the same latitude as Cancun, but Cancun is way up around the little twirly tip.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like
Cancun might be a little bit
Cancun's
further
a
south.
little bit farther north, but
further
you know,
north?
not much. Not much. You're kind of more on the same line as Merida.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It's gonna be a pretty boring podcast.
No, this is extremely informative podcast.
Very informative.
I'm pretty sure it's like blah blah blah.
We talk about all sorts of random shit.
We don't even know what we're talking about anymore, man.
We talk about ownership.
We're just.
Hey,
So I
I
feel like- I feel like we
know
should,
what we're talking about.
We never know
there,
what we're talking
bro.
about. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it, Casey.
We should have just dropped the freaking recording thing in his tour bus the other day. And
That's absolutely what we should have done. So yeah, we were hanging out in some guy's tour bus the other day. JB made me a sandwich. It was delicious.
I did.
It was delicious. So yeah, I think we're talking about ownership. On the topic of ownership, I gotta mention local guy Jocko Willink. He has a book. Him and his buddy Leif Babin. Shout out to you two. Called Extreme Ownership, and these are two guys who were Navy SEALs, and now they own a consulting company, and they deal with businesses. They wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, and
You could say they're professional owners.
they are professional owners of owning things, good or bad. And I think it's a good book. If you want to read it, go for it. Go buy it on Amazon or rent it or whatever you do with books. I don't know. Can you rent a book on a Kindle or an iPhone, iPad?
Totally.
I don't know. I don't know how these technology things work, but great book, Extreme Ownership. But I think it's something that you do or you don't. But it's totally, absolutely speaks to your character. And I don't think we could do it any better than talking about, how you act when nobody's looking. Because
Here's the
that's your
thing.
character.
Here's the thing about ownership, and this
Yeah.
is just kind of my 2 cents. Like, it really comes down to success. If you own your shit on a daily basis, 99.9%, you're going to be successful in some way, shape, or form. Because if you really, if you have a goal, if you make mistakes, if you do all of that, and you own the fact that you have goals and you get them done, if you make mistakes and you answer for them, you're going to be successful. It's just how it is. Because
Well,
if you don't make mistakes, which everybody does, if
Yeah.
you make the least mistakes,
For
you're going to be
sure.
owning the fact that you're following your goals. If you make mistakes and you own them, people are going to understand and they're going to help you out.
And you're going to learn.
And you're going to learn. That's the thing.
Right. I mean, nobody's perfect by any means.
Nobody's perfect.
And everybody's made monumental mistakes, man. Everybody's had monumental success, and everybody's had monumental mistakes, man.
For
And
sure.
no matter what trade you're in, if you're a plumber or a professional football player or a stockbroker or the president
Everything's
of the United
regulated,
States,
man, and if you make mistakes, it's going to be brought to your attention.
And different people have, it's like with things like Yelp and stuff like that. Like people can give somebody a really good or really bad representation. Public display. If you're a football player, the whole world's watching you make the tackle or throw the interception, whatever it is, man. No matter what you're doing every single day, you're doing something, and there's success or failure involved with it.
Well, and there's ownership in failure. There's ownership in success.
Right.
It doesn't matter which side of the coin you're on.
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you what.
You gotta own it. You gotta own it. You have to own it.
People seeing you own your failures, I think that goes a hell of a lot further. Because owning your success is easy. Everyone does that. But owning your failures,
not everybody does it well, though.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, look at all these professional football players. They have quote unquote success.
They're children,
and then they squander it, and it's the end of the world, and then they end up being penniless, and but then you also have to define success.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, you look at some of the best coaches, over time and stuff. And these are guys who they treated their players in a way that made them, they held their players accountable. They made them own their shit, and they didn't treat them like,
sure.
I think you deal with you got a lot of children who are suddenly treated like gods or kings, and they suddenly have a ton of money, and everybody wants to, enable them and kiss their ass. You need. That's why some of the best coaches are people like Parcells or some of these people who they are disciplinarians, right? They kick their players' asses.
It comes down to the fact that the people who are influencing them aren't gaining anything monetarily from them.
Yeah.
Directly. I mean, because that's the problem is that, financial gain is the thing that ultimately, sullies that relationship, because you have your business manager who's going to make 10%. He's gonna say yes to whatever the fuck you want to do.
I guess I was specifically talking about certain coaches, certain coaches that are disciplinarians.
No. I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to differentiate that relationship.
Yeah. No, you're right. Because the coach is the coach. I mean, sure, he's going to have more longevity if the team wins, but
you're a pawn in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You may be a rook. You may be a
maybe
knight.
You're a knight. Maybe you can move both forwards and to the right.
Yeah, for sure.
Or to the right and then
two spaces forward and one space to the right.
Maybe, or maybe maybe you're maybe you're a bishop and you can only move diagonally.
Maybe you can. Yeah, dude, diagonally is great.
Or maybe you're a guy that wears a dress and then you can move in any direction you want.
Dude, maybe you're a queen.
Oh yeah, buddy.
You guys are starting to fucking really weird me out right now.
It was just weird wordplay. Instead of saying the word queen, I used the visual of the drag queen.
Chess.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
We're just describing chess pieces. It's really
that's all. It's all.
Yeah, that's cool.
We get bored. We do weird things sometimes.
But honestly, so the queen and the king own their shit. You know why? Because ultimately, they're the ones who are going to win the game.
Does the king really own his shit? Because he's the one who's going to lose the game.
Yeah, the queen ultimately.
Owns her shit. The king is kind of. It's like everybody else's job is to protect the king. It's like a fucking pride of lions, dude.
Women are better at men at definitely a lot of things.
Bro. All we have to do is look at lions and lionesses.
I was just gonna say that, dude. Lions and lionesses.
Yeah. The fucking. What do lions do? They have a fucking mane.
Jack shit, dude. My mane is bigger than his, and I whooped his ass with my mane.
It's pretty much Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the fucking Instagram of the savannah.
And then the lionesses go out and kill the shit and bring it back for fucking the family to eat.
But here's the problem, though.
Sure,
what's wrong with the lionesses? They put in all the work, and then they fight over who gets to get plugged by the male and who gets to have his babies.
But that's not true with modern day society, man. Like modern day society, man and woman are both equally working, I think, pretty hard.
Well,
I don't know a lot of guys like
we are evolutionarily,
but that's come a long way.
We're able to, acknowledge the problem.
How did owning
everybody's
your shit
hustling, man?
This?
Dude,
everybody's doing
owning your
something.
shit, acknowledging the problem is not owning
yeah.
your shit. I have no idea.
I don't either.
We have derailed.
Yeah, we're all fucked up.
Yeah, we drink too much. I think we need some grand final quote.
Here's the deal, like we definitely, got off topic and talked about a bunch of different stories and talked about some shit.
Casey,
but, like,
that's part of our MO, bro. That's what we do.
Honestly, like I've only listened to one podcast in my life, and it was one of your guys. And
don't listen to any other podcast.
And then here I am. I'm like sitting in on one, doing one. But
dude, you're awesome, dude. I like your anecdotes.
Owning your shit is just it's being a good human being.
Exactly. It's being a genuine human being.
Yeah.
It's knowing the difference between right and wrong and acting as if you are doing to others what you would want people to do to you. It's really the golden rule. It's really this cliched thing. It's like
owning up to your mistakes.
Shit. Listen, I drove by your truck. I fucked it up. I was drunk.
Well,
you know what? Minimizing that damage, maybe not getting a DUI, but being like, "Hey, man,
well, dude, you can leave.
Sorry,
even if you were drunk,
fucked your truck up.
If you were drunk and you hit someone's car, you can leave a note and then still go home. You're not going to get a DUI, but you at least owned your shit when it came to damaging someone else's property.
The next day, you can be like, "Hey, man, I'll at least pay for it, or I'll submit it to insurance."
Yeah,
yada yada yada. It's really comes down to that whole full circle,
So to kind of at least open up one last topic before we wrap things up, I have a quote, and I think this quote actually goes wider than you'd think, but I'll explain what I think in a second. So it's a quote by Jocko Willink, who again, he wrote the book Extreme Ownership. I think when it comes to ownership, he has to be mentioned. And here's his quote: "When setting expectations, no matter what has been said or written, if substandard performance is accepted and no one is held accountable, if there are no consequences, that poor performance becomes the new standard." And obviously, when I read this, the first thing I think of is setting those expectations and those standards for those around you, or your team, or your employees. But I think that this absolutely can be said for the expectations and the accountability that you hold to yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, I think that's exactly where that motivation for that quote came from.
I totally agree.
Because when you let yourself accept the subpar standards of others, you end up not becoming the person who will, drop the hammer on those people who perform those subpar standards.
Yeah, or drop the hammer on yourself when you perform subpar standards.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that if you let yourself go, you'll let others go for sure.
Absolutely.
And it all comes down to though, like, what your priorities are. If you're okay with that, if you want to be the guy that, lets everybody do what they want to do, and you want to be the guy that's liked, I feel like the Jocko aspect of it is like ultimately like the super alpha. I need to, get a mission done, which I completely agree with.
Well, and he may not be the guy that was liked at the beginning, but he's the guy that's respected.
No, for sure. I mean, that's
and in the end,
we're talking about generalities here,
right?
For
Right.
sure.
But I'm saying if you want to not, be that kind of guy that everyone likes, and I think you were equating that guy with the guy who doesn't really own his shit or set the right expectations. I think that may be good for short term, but like, how long does that last if people can't count on you and if they know that you're going to point that finger at somebody besides yourself? Like,
well, and it's all relative too, because it all comes down to the what you're producing. If you're producing anything, really.
In general, as we go through our lives, who are you left with? Who and what are you left with at the end? People.
Well, that's
who
what I'm saying.
If
you're completely content with being, a drifter who sleeps on people's couches, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to, have something that's respectable by other people, I don't know. It really all comes down to, relativity.
Relativity, but I think it also comes down to respect, and I think that ultimately that's self-respect, and how much do you respect yourself?
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned way early on, like why I kind of devil's avocado-ishly asked, why do you leave the note? Why do you hold yourself accountable? And you said so you can sleep at night, and I think that's where that kind of comes into play.
Yeah, because that ultimately, if that were to happen to you, you would want somebody to own their shit, so that you could make the decision on whether or not, what you wanted to do. Like, would you want them to pay for your car, or be like, hey, I understand what happened. I've been there before. Hey, man, I got you. Because ultimately, when you don't know the information, your mind jumps to the worst possible scenario.
Absolutely.
You got me, Casey, on that one. You know that.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to self-respect.
Like, here's the deal, man. End of the day, we've fucking beat a dead horse about like responsibility.
Oh, we haven't even begun to cane the dead horse, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah,
it's real fucking simple.
Owning up to things, responsibility. That's what it's about.
For sure. It absolutely is.
It's always tough, but like it's one of those things, man. Like I can't tell you how many times in my life I've had to have like super awkward situations where like you have to tell somebody like, look, man, I busted into something and like I broke something. I'm gonna have to charge you another $1,000 because your house is so fucked up. It's your place needs your place
comes
needs
down
extra
to what
stuff.
you can live with.
Whatever.
But answer me this, Casey: had someone came and knocked on your door the day after you realized your car got hit, and they're like, hey, man, like, I just wanted to come by. I hit your car last night. It was kind of a whirlwind. I kind of panicked and I went away, but I want to make this right. Like, you'd be kind of pissed, but wouldn't you have a lot more respect for that person at that point?
Well, obviously. And that's the story of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's got...
well, and that's kind of the devil's advocate position that we're trying to promote, is that like...
We've all been in that situation where we were, we were the ones who were awkwardly telling people, hey, I fucked up.
Well, because and that's to my point that if you don't have the information, you jump to the worst possible scenario.
Well, yeah, but if the thing happened and you weren't there, then it's that person's obligation to bring you the rest of the story. If they don't want you,
that's
they hold the power.
Yeah, exactly.
They hold all the power.
The people hold the power to give you the information,
and you can skate by.
It's the honor system.
Yeah. Well, the honor system is honor.
What's your honor? What are you willing to leave a note for somebody? The truck.
I'm not.
There's no way you didn't know that you hit that person's vehicle.
Yeah.
Are you gonna leave a note?
And maybe the person was
and then
so
here's
drunk
like,
they had no idea that they did it. It's really hard to.
There's
speculate.
no way. There's no way. And then the other day, it's like somebody that just aimlessly rolled through the entire neighborhood and destroyed a bunch of antennas. Like some kid rolls through the neighborhood or some random person goes through the neighborhood and fucking decides like, hey, I'm gonna bend 20 antennas in this neighborhood. And I look, 2 of my cars, 2 of my trucks, busted.
Well, and I think had it been, if it was a 15-year-old kid, then I think some of that goes back onto the ownership that was put on that person by learning about accountability through people that are supposed to teach you that kind of shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I mean, that's a whole other layer of responsibility.
Well, and we don't know enough of the story to get into that one.
No, you can't. You really can't. You
No.
just have to. You really can only react to the information that you're presented with.
And you gotta own your shit, and you gotta forgive people.
Yeah,
when they
own
fuck
your
up.
shit.
And you gotta just put it in the hands of the fucking great Buddha or fucking Shiva the Destroyer or whatever. That shit's gonna get taken care of.
Yeah, Shiva, whatever the fuck that is.
She's got a lot of arms.
Shiva?
Yeah, Shiva the Destroyer.
I thought you said Sheba. Sorry.
No, Shiva. I think it's cat food.
The many arms of Shiva.
Shiva the Destroyer.
Yeah,
She'll fuck your shit up.
for sure.
All I'm saying is, if you believe in
derailed.
No. I'm just saying, do it for yourself. Do
What
it for
time
honor.
is it
do
in
it for
Tennessee right
self-respect.
now?
Too late. Almost 11.
Is that where you're at, JB?
Yeah, it's like 10:40.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, do it for yourself. Do it for self-respect. Do it for your own honor. Do it because you want to sleep at night. If nothing else, do it for karma or whatever sort of religion is you believe in. Because,
Well, I mean, honestly, yeah, it's that whole karmic golden rule, man. It's like
exactly.
do it as if you think that somebody's going to do it back to you in the same way eventually.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a
Hopefully
very
Tim
edit-heavy podcast.
This is
Yeah,
going to be a lot of work
super.
for Tim. So yes,
Yeah. Fucking
that's okay though.
editing hand grenade.
I've dealt with worse. I've dealt with much worse.
I have
Trust
no
me.
clue. And really, like, man,
Hey, but you know what? This has been enjoyable. I appreciate your take on things, Casey.
yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, we might as well go to a final thought here because I think we're all fading fast, intellectually speaking.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
flatlined.
Casey, do you have a final thought for us on this whole ownership topic or any topic really?
My final thought would be, like, we talked about so many different things over the course of this podcast. Be the best person you can possibly be. Pretend to be the inspiration that wish that you had. I had a lot of really wonderful people in my life that were really good inspirational people that trained me, and I had nice parents. Do everything you can to make the world a better place, make everybody around you proud, work hard, and live the best life you possibly can. Ultimately, no one knows how long they're going to be on this planet. And everybody's got their career. Do everything you can do as well as you can and respect people. And, try to have a good time. Be a good person. That's it.
It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
I want to kind of second that. Like, it's one of those things where, life, that people say that life is a series of moments, and it really is because, people are judged at certain moments in their life.
And
Whether
you don't get to
you're
pick those
famous. No, you don't. Exactly. So, and that's kind of the ultimate, crux of the whole thing is that you don't know which moments you're judged on, and you really shouldn't care. But at the same time, people care about their legacy, and if you can, put forth the most positive moments, whatever that means in your life towards, humankind and people around you, you will be judged more positively if that's what you're concerned about. If you're not concerned about it, just be good to people, because you know what? What the hell does it hurt you? It only makes you feel better to be good to people. you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. Really, it's a win-win. You know
totally
what?
agree.
If you're good to people, people will judge you better. But that should just be a side effect.
I totally agree.
So,
and on that kind of dovetail off of that, I mean, we talked about earlier, like, do things as if somebody's watching, even when nobody is.
Yeah, for sure.
And whether this is your intent or not, there's going to come a point when you do something just because you did or because you wanted to, and you had no intention of showing that action to other people. But there's going to be a time when that opens a door because somebody saw you do something out of the goodness of your heart, or because that's just who you are, and that may open up a door. And maybe it doesn't in the direct sense, but at the same time, you never know. You really never know.
You know what? I'm going to take it one step farther.
Yeah.
Live your life as if someone you respect is watching.
Like
Well, yeah, the Japanese have a big thing with that.
Well, and their I would say their culture in general is just way more honor centric than
Honorable, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess all I can say, guys, is Casey, thank you for being with us. I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll have you.
For sure, Casey. Good to talk with you, bro.
I wish we were all sitting in front of each other instead of with earphones in.
Well, this is how we have to do it. Occasionally.
That's how it has to be.
90% of the time, this is how it has to be, but that's all right. It is what it is. So yeah, Casey, thank you again. We appreciate it, and I guess all I can say is live your life, live every moment like it matters. Hold yourself accountable, and
good.
that's all we can do. And as JB says, be good. So thank you all. Have a great however long it is until you hear our voices again. And this is us from Project Reclamation saying thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Hey, Mark. Are we going to do the Shark Week song or what?
Isn't Shark Week over?
Ugh, well, for me, every week is Shark Week.
All right, let's do it.
This is Shark Week. Seals should be afraid. Children will shriek, and the Discovery Channel will get paid. And in our world, so many of us end up in a net. That's a fact you all forget until Shark Week. So say a prayer. Pray for the dumber ones, like hammerheads. Hey! They try, but can't resist the chum. There's a man hanging off a surfboard, and we don't want to swallow him. We just like to say hello by chomping off a limb. And we admit sometimes that we're a-holes, but we're not as bad as you. 'Cause tonight some jerk is slurping shark fin soup, and there won't be many sharks to film in 10 years' time. But now some lucky seals will get to fly. Oh, so give those butch great whites their time in the spotlight. Do they even know that it's Shark Week? Film the sharks. Let them know that it's Shark Week again. Let's be friends. Man and shark can always make amends. Jaws was born jump on boats or eat small kids. Well, that's actually not true. Sometimes they do eat small kids. But very rarely. Rarely. Get it? Because it's like rare meat.